Are you stressed and filled with anxiety like I am? Maybe in a bit of pain from that car accident you had a few years ago? Well, the sponsor of today's episode, Hempville CBD, has us covered. They have the highest quality products created by chemists and doctors. Hempville carries everything from CBD to THC dispensary grade without those despicable dispensary prices. Order your Delta 8, 9 edibles and vapes along with the THCA flower and get free shipping when you spend $50 or more at hempvillecbd.com. Check out the link in the description for more details.
Welcome to the Filmsteins, the double feature podcast. Join us as we unravel the interwoven experience of the continuous conversation of cinema. Take part in pairing movies with their cursed counterparts, movies that share DNA, or even pairing questionable duos by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/filmsteins. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $5 tier will grant the ability to request films to further the discussion. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready to join the 100-year conversation. This is the Filmsteins, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmsteins. Thank you for joining us today. We have a very special episode for this joyous Christmas day. I am joined today by my holiday cheermeister, Lucy.
Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas.
You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for brand new episodes of the Filmsteins. Some recent episodes include our coverage of the 1954 Godzilla film, the recent Godzilla -1, great film, the new Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, the other Netflix hit, Leave the World Behind, and The Holdovers, the most overrated film of the year, wah.
Yup.
But today, like I said at the top, we have a very special episode. It's a Grinchmas Special. Today we will be maybe having a little bit of a wrestling match here with which Grinch out of the three is the best. That includes the 1966 Chuck Jones Grinch, the year 2000 Ron Howard and Jim Carrey Grinch, and the 2018 Scott Mosier and Yarrow Cheney Grinch with Tyler the Creator and Benedict Cumberbatch and Pharrell Williams and everyone else apparently is in that movie. Yeah, I don't know if people argue over the three Grinches like they do, so maybe like the Scrooges or something. Or maybe just Christmas movies in general. Like the best classic, like old classic, or just if Home Alone or Die Hard are actually Christmas movies kind of thing. But the Jim Carrey Grinch is the best Grinch.
What? You're going to start there?
Yeah.
We're just gonna go?
We're just going for it.
The Jim Carrey one is not the best Grinch. Probably the most recent one. The 2018, The Grinch, is the best Grinch.
What about the old one? It's a little unfair, maybe, to put them head to head. It's only like 25 minutes. But it does kind of spark the outline of what a Grinch can be. Although it's probably page for page identical to the book, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So I guess you could argue it starts at the book, but it's a good adaptation, maybe. But in some ways, it feels kind of like the missing link between the Ron Howard, Jim Carrey Grinch and the recent 2018 Grinch. Because I can see some of the things that are missing in the Jim Carrey Grinch that are there in the original and there in the new one, and then some things that are there in the original but missing in the new one, but are there in the Jim Carrey one. And so it's kind of a fun thing happening there. And I guess I also want to say, so I don't forget, why aren't there more Grinches? Why is the Scrooge story talked about so much? You know, why is there not a Muppets Grinch? That's a real question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I wonder if whoever owns the rights to Grinch,
Ted Jr.
doesn't want a lot of them for some reason.
Because I would argue it's, if not the most popular story, at least the second, next to the Scrooge story.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a little surprising because they're living on two different sides of that spectrum, because how many Scrooges are there? Like Scrooge adjacent stories. Probably 50.
A lot?
So why is the 2018 Grinch the worst one?
The worst one? Well, it's not. I feel like the newest Grinch captures the spirit of Christmas the best out of all the movies, which is really what the Grinch is about. Him learning to capture the spirit of Christmas to make his heart grow so he could be, happy, essentially. I don't know. There's just something so heartwarming about the newer Grinch, and I like the soundtrack a lot. I know we don't have our classic "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" song. Mm-hmm. We have a version of it, which I like, but I will agree that that's one of the things that I do love from the original. But the rest of the soundtrack, I think it's great. There are a few flaws that movie has that I don't particularly like, but it doesn't change the movie enough for me. And just I don't know, some of the other movies are just missing that warmness that you need to feel around Christmas time.
Sure, no doubt. There's no denying that, because the original, we're focusing on the Grinch entirely.
I will say the original has the best looking Grinch.
I like the original Grinch probably the best as well. Yeah.
Just appearance wise.
I like traditional 2D animation and old cartoon. It's done by Chuck Jones, right? Mm-hmm. And Friends. So it's got a very Looney Tunes kind of feel, of course. But we really don't get any of what the Christmas joy looks like in the original Grinch.
No, we don't.
We almost entirely focus on the Grinch and him stealing what he thinks is Christmas to them, and he comes to learn very quickly that it's more than that. So you really have no time to feel for anything, mm-hmm. which is, just...
Yeah, it's also 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, so it's hard to stack it up against the other two.
Yeah.
So I will say, too, that the Jim Carrey, Ron Howard one is not a happy film. There's no Christmas joy in that movie at all. And that's probably why I like it a little more.
You would. Because
he is despicable and he doesn't learn anything. He's basically guilt-tripped by a little girl. And it's almost a fun little slight at the fickleness of maybe the participants of commercialism and a late stage capitalism, because that's kind of the crux of the setup of the Who's and Who'sville and stuff and everything mm-hmm. in the 2001. And I like that the Grinch is disgusted by that.
Yeah,
it's funny, but not from a Christmas angle. It's not cute from any Christmas angle. It doesn't feel Christmassy at all. It's a very drab looking movie. It's surprisingly not very colorful, which seems odd even for what it is trying to say, mm-hmm. sort of. I feel like it almost is a little bit of a commentary on late stage capitalism, which is strange, but I'm glad it exists. So of course it's going to speak to me, because it's really it's a stretch of a Grinch adaptation. Which makes it even weirder that it's one of the three,
Yes. Oh my God.
Like the 2018 one is a little bit more of a proper rendition of it, proper kind of expansion. I will get to that here in a second, because I have a couple things to say that don't measure up to me in that one. But him bringing back the gifts, Jim Carrey's Grinch bringing back the gifts at the very end, and them all celebrating him after watching how driven they are, like to the core of every fiber in the Who's beings around, buying stuff, collecting presents and everything. And then them just immediately forgiving him just remind me of how fickle people are in real life with products and with corporations and even just people in general with other people.
And I like that you say that, because especially around Christmas time, families forgive each other for the nasty shit they've done to each other all year. And you get a Christmas present for that, coworker you've been shit talking for the last year. It's a good,
It feels like it almost becomes the excuse for a lot of people to reset how people view them. But you're not just someone for a year and you reset yourself.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
And then I feel like it's super intentional too in the 2001 with Ron Howard and Jim Carrey, because at the very fucking end, when he's handing out the roast beast, yeah, you know, he's who wants the gizzard or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's like, psych, that shit's mine.
Yep.
It's like, you didn't learn a damn thing, Grinch, and that's why I love you in this movie. So that's, in a nutshell, that is why I like the 2001 a little better than the 2018 one, the recent one.
Yeah, I feel like the Jim Carrey one is too much. It's too busy.
It's very busy.
There's a lot going on that I'm not a fan of it. It's too much going on. I do love the set designs. I mean, you know, we can't really truly compare these movies because one's 2D, one's 3D, and one's live action. But the set designs in this movie are absolutely crazily good. I mean, all the props, all the costumes, everything it's so cool. It gives me, you know, Dr. Seuss land vibes when you go to Universal Studios. I can see those sets being influenced, except they're duller. They're not as bright, they're not as shiny as the world at Universal and the books. So there's definitely something there that I don't like. Sure, it fits in with what you're saying about the tone of this movie, but it almost would have been better to make it all very bright and shiny and kind of exploit that fickleness of everything being bright and shiny, but it's really not.
And normally I think you would, because you want that contrast. Contrast is just nice and everything.
Yes.
And I wonder if it has to do with the filming process, because at this time I think we were experimenting with digital filming. So I wonder if there's some kind of unfortunate side effect that just kind of got lost in that transition of filmmaking, because it also looks weird. It just doesn't quite look right. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know enough about it. I guess especially in like wider shots where we see lots of depth in the world, close-ups look, you know, fine.
Yep.
But there's a weirdness about the color grading.
Yeah, there is for sure. And I don't know if that's what's making me feel like this movie didn't age well, but rewatching it didn't age well, which is crazy because practical usually ages fairly well. But I don't know. It just felt, maybe it just felt too murky, too.
It was dull.
Bah humbug.
Yeah, totally. I know. I totally get that, and that's one thing I like about the new one, especially because it you know, it's a Illumination film, so it wears that on its fucking shoulders, which is my biggest problem with it, because it's too Despicable Me minionsy.
What's wrong with that? That's just like everyone praising the 1966 film, praising it for being just like the book. Yes, okay, you know, I respect that. I respect
that is cool, yeah.
The source material being almost identical to a movie. I kind of like that. But that's not a reason why it's better than the other two Grinches. That's not a praising reason. I like the Despicable Me movies. I like that animation. It feels kind of goofy, and I kind of like it. So maybe that's what I like about the Grinch.
It's kind of a funny thing. It's got, maybe not surprisingly, because there's some kind of tether between Illumination and DreamWorks, but it's got this kind of overly cutesy energy that I'm just not into. It's a little abrasive, I guess, on my senses, and I don't like the way they handle little kids either in these Illumination movies. I don't like Gru's kids at all. They annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, I love the Minions. Even Gru, Vector. I mean, they all look good. Even the grandpa looks good, the grandma. But I do agree with you that the little children in this animation are kind of weird.
Well, I don't like how they act either, and what they say, and I don't like anything about them. I don't love
kids.
I don't, kind of like we talked about in Trolls, I don't, you know, the animation it's slick. It's something animators all around the world would die to work on. You know, these are primetime animated feature films, which is very cool. Not a lot of things, not a lot of animated works get the feature film treatment. But I just don't like the literal animation. I should say I don't like the art style very much.
Are they not weird enough?
No, they're weird, but they're just... It feels like it's the proper evolution of like Jimmy Neutron and a higher version of Cocomelon or something. It's just like...
No, oh God, no. It does not feel like that. Jimmy Neutron is probably the worst animation of that time.
Yeah, probably.
And how dare you compare it to this?
Well, let me be clear. It's funny to talk about it. The animation itself is pretty slick. I did notice some things that were weirdly not polished up as far as like things interacting with one another, like in how they should have, like the snow and stuff was just bizarre at times. It didn't behave right. And the art style itself, not how they're moving about.
Okay.
Jimmy Neutron has both. It's terrible in both camps. It was a product of its time, no doubt. Early 2000s. That was a weird time for CGI, especially. The animation here, like the locomotion animation, is pretty good here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as Trolls, the recent Trolls.
Trolls band together.
But the whole Illumination pantheon of movies, art style, I hate pretty much across the board. I don't like how the Minions look. I don't love how even the Mario movie looks. I will say the animation in Mario is much better than this is. There has been some time in between the two, right? 5 years, 6 years. So it's, you would expect some kind of development in that camp. But there's an abrasiveness in how things look. And I don't know, cuteness. I'm not sure what to call it. That I'm not on board for. So it's almost, I guess, kind of two ends of the spectrum with the 2001 and the 2018 one, because the 2001's so drab and this one's so too much. It's like too much candy or something.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, which is why I think the OG Grinch looks the best. His teeth look nasty. He looks nasty. The way he moves, the way he like bends and crawls and does all his sleuthing around. He looks nasty and he looks good. And
his moments of being creepy too, looking creepy.
Yeah, yes, especially when he's like chewing on the he was chewing on a toothpick, I think, at one point, and just the way he was looking. I mean, it was crazy. He looked awesome compared to this 2018 Grinch with his fucking straight teeth, pearly white. I mean, this dude was polished.
Yeah.
He takes a shower and brushes his hair. Not a piece of hair out of place. He's very, very polished. Compared to the Jim Carrey Grinch.
Who lives on a mound of trash, kind of.
Yeah. And he also looks kind of cool. But again, it's a little hard to compare. But I do like his hands. I like his hands a lot.
His hands are awesome.
His hands are awesome. But just his face just doesn't sell it for me. It looks very like a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mask you would go find at, the Halloween store and put it on and you're a Grinch. So maybe his face isn't quite selling it for me. But oh my god, his hands are phenomenal. His belly is probably the nastiest Grinch belly. Even though all three bellies they're pretty good. They all have that beer gut. So I can kind of see that art style not quite selling it for you, because this dude looks like he, had braces and brushes his teeth twice a day and wears face masks. I don't know. He's a very modern Grinch.
He's a very Illumination Grinch. I don't think they can make ugly stuff. I don't think they have it in them.
Yeah, and leading to that, the Grinch, the 2018 Grinch movie also has the best Max.
Yes, totally. Easily the best Max.
Yeah.
He's got a crazy amount of personality.
Yes. The other two Maxes look a little too nasty. The live action one, that's a real dog. I can see how it would be hard to make a real dog look absolutely adorable. You know, all of course, all doggies are cute, whatever. Puppies are cute.
Yeah.
But you can't animate their eyes to make them look big and sad. And I guess to keep the tone of the movie, you kind of have to find a scruffy looking dog anyway. But even the original animation makes him look kind of nasty too. And I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, Max is disgusting in the original. Looks like he has a skin tag as a nose.
Yes.
And yeah, they definitely try their hardest to find a match. I don't know what kind of dog Max is. I would expect a total mutt of mutts because he's with the Grinch and he lives as an outcast with him.
Is it funny to you that he even has a dog in the first place? Because you don't associate dogs with Grinch type of people. Usually people give cats to, you know, not so nice, not so friendly people. Like that's the stereotype.
Well, that's kind of the funny thing. I guess it's funniest in the original and the 2001 because it makes total sense for him to have a dog in the 2018 one because he's so tempted. He's so tempted in the 2018 one that it makes total sense that he'd have a dog because this is behind closed doors. He can have this thing that loves him unconditionally all the time, and he can love it in just the smallest of bursts that we never see. You know that, but Max feels them. You know, Max. You may never even see it if you were to watch him 24/7, but Max feels it. You know,
Yes.
because dogs are easy to please, anyways.
That's true.
So it's a little odd that the 2018 Grinch, I think, is actually goes out of his way to be sort of despicable. Like the whole when he goes into town to get supplies and stuff, and there's a couple instances of him being just a dickhead. It's almost like, are you just trying to act out to get attention? Because you're not. You're non-confrontational, unlike the 2000 Grinch. You're beautiful. You're not. You comb yourself. You're not. You have straight teeth. You know,
you don't eat trash.
You don't eat trash.
Or onions like the Jim Carrey
You don't have to
one.
hide yourself when you come into town, like Jim Carrey does with the mask, which is kind of creepy. It's a creepy introduction to the Grinch, and then they're all afraid of him stuff. No one's afraid of you in the 2018 one.
Yeah.
So his ugliness on the inside, coming out in different ways. I can't remember anymore other than the jar.
Oh, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It's funny. It's super
so funny.
But it's not. It doesn't fit. It's a little too mean.
Yeah, this Grinch he's just lonely. And he's a recluse. Like he doesn't want to deal with people. But I guess I like that. I like that kind of more modern problem, more modern twist that they're giving him while still keeping the idea of the Grinch within him. Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of like what you said. He's just a little kid acting out and just being malicious for malicious sake. No one actually did anything to him. No one hates him.
Nobody knows him.
Yeah, no one cringes at him. So I like that.
They even make the Who's a little bit more like him in this one than versus the other two. They're a little furry, right? Like him. They're not. There's no green ones, I guess, but they kind of merge them in a way that it works, I guess. I do like the approach.
It's like it's all in his head.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, I can only speak for myself here, but a lot of my problems are also in my head. So maybe that's why I can relate to him. So I don't know. I guess that's why it makes me like this movie a lot. I think this one has the best Grinch story because he wants it. He wants it so bad. He wants that closeness with people so bad. We see it throughout the whole film. It's not like he just instantly wants to be around people. We have these sweet moments with Max. We have these sweet moments with Fred, the obese reindeer. And we have these moments when he's, looking at the window when they're all singing. I mean,
and the whole orphan flashback.
Yeah, the orphan flashback is so fucking sad. So when he finally accepts that it's okay to be around people and to be loved and to love others back, it just made it flow better for me. Although we do have this one instance of the 2000 Grinch when he saves Cindy Lou Who, which is that one little tiny thing he did for somebody that was nice. And I mean, she even said it. She was like, "Why? Thank you for saving me." And he's like, "What? I didn't save you." So I can see that, but we don't get more little notes of it, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot. There's There's arguably maybe not another instance of that Grinch, the 2000 Grinch, having a heart. And I wonder if it was just simply a plot device, the way they use Cindy Lou Who to get Grinch to come back. Because they had so much fun with this Grinch just being a total menace that when his heart grew, he was acting like he was having a fucking heart attack.
I know.
So
it's just...
there's not a warmness there, like the 2018 Grinch. He feels it, and then he gets all warm inside. It's like, oh, that's nice. What am I feeling?
I know. And it's so cute.
The Jim Carrey Grinch is like, oh my God. Someone call 911. It's funny. There's a little bit of a plot hole, I guess you could say, happening there in the 2001. There's also this element of him wanting to be in the spotlight in the first one. He likes being the spectacle.
Yeah.
So any chance he can get, he's kind of happy to take the spotlight for a minute, and him coming back, gives him that chance, and also gives him the chance while, when he's there, to really kind of give it to the mayor, which he's happy to at any moment. It's kind of funny that they even were able to run off the Grinch when he was little in the 2001, because I feel like he wasn't any different when he was a kid, really. He likes creating things. He's got a very specific interest in a very specific person. When he's little, it's Martha May, is that her name? And that never goes away. But then he also gets this specific interest in Cindy Lou Who, because she's, she won't give up on him. And, you can't help but to be kind of charmed by someone who tries to break open your shell. Because he's also reserved and doesn't want to, he just wants to freak people out and traumatize people. He's a bully, he's a big brother kind of thing. So I don't know what I mean by saying all that, but I guess
the Jim Carrey Grinch is a little too real in the way that he doesn't change, So maybe that makes the film, I don't know if relatable is the right word here, but I just don't like that it's missing the spirit of Christmas, the change of Mr. Grinch.
I know it kind of starts to come down to the age-old argument of, like, is it even a Christmas movie? Because it is missing that essential spirit of Christmas movie kind of thing. Like, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie because it's missing that spirit of Christmas element. Home Alone is not a Christmas movie kind of thing. Like, it is, but it isn't.
It's not.
Like, it starts to balance that, but it's so revolved around Christmas that it's hard to, I guess, get out of that Christmas bubble, which makes it just even stranger that it exists. I guess that's one reason I kind of like it, is how did this come to be?
How did this movie get made, or why is this still around as a Christmas movie?
How did it get made?
Not sure. But I think people really like Jim Carrey, so that might be a reason why it's still around anyway. But I don't know. This movie was just too much. This Grinch is too much. Too over the top. I just can't get over how just cute the 2018 one is. There's some really cute moments, some really funny moments that I just absolutely love. You have the scene where Max gets a little sticky note stuck on his little paw, and it's not even what's going on in the screen. What's going on is Grinch explaining to us how he's gonna how he's gonna steal everyone's stuff. But in the background, Max is just there flinging that little sticky note. And there's just something so cute and charming about that. And I also love, and it's probably my favorite scene in the movie, when the carolers carolers are chasing him and singing after him, and he's just trying to escape. He just needs to fucking get groceries. I kind of like that he has to go get groceries on Christmas because I hate shopping Christmas Eve and the day before Christmas Eve. Those are like the 2 worst days to go shopping, and they're the 2 worst days to go get groceries. I'm not about to do that. I'm gonna starve. I'm gonna eat some saltine crackers, and I just hate that he has to go out there. So I love that they make him go out. And then there's these carolers, and he doesn't want them to, but they're trying to spread Christmas joy, Christmas cheer, and they're just chasing him. And then we have that one awesome scene where they're like walking towards him, snapping their fingers, singing along. And I don't know, that scene right there just sells it for me on how adorable this is.
Yeah, it's definitely proper setup to tell you that this is a different Grinch, because that is the nightmare everyone hopes they have to avoid, is getting anything right before Christmas. That's a funny setup.
Which, by the way, it's so funny that everyone hates it, but there's still
everyone does it.
a lot of people out there, yeah.
It's like people don't learn. But you just never know what you're going to need, I guess. So there's some funny things happening there, though, in that setup. And it's probably the best part of the movie. It probably is, story-wise and character-wise, and just setting up, things to come. Because we see a little bit of Scrooge in there, because he's kind of famous for going past the carolers and them shutting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have the exact opposite here. And, the Grinch is sort of a Scrooge-esque character.
Yeah.
Right? But in the Jim Carrey one, we see when he shows up, he scares everyone to death. They all run away. It's like he might as well be an active shooter.
Yeah.
And in this one, we get people running at him, trying to force the Christmas cheer down him. And then they have a whole number and everything, and it does a really, really, really good job at separating itself from the other Grinch, the 2000 Grinch, the proper feature film, while tying itself to like some fundamentals of Christmas and Christmas movies, and the nonsense we have to deal with, like going to the grocery store on fucking Christmas Eve night. It's like, God, so I will have to give it up to them. That's probably some of the best direction in Illumination, actually, is that those first 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, because right after that, he goes in the store, and we have also 2 little scenes that just crack me up. When he grabs the pickle jar from one lady's basket, puts the pickle in his mouth, didn't like it, puts it back in the jar, puts it in some other lady's basket. I mean, it's so small, but it's just so funny, because we start getting a glimpse of the Grinchiness of the Grinch. And then right after that, we have the scene where the lady, she's trying to reach for a jar of jelly or whatever, and he sees her, and you think he's about to go help her, and he just looks at it. She's like, "Oh, are you gonna get that?" And he's like, "No," and then puts it back up there so she can't reach. And it's so good. It's so funny.
It is. It almost suffers from the opposite problem, where we needed a few more instances of his Grinchiness, his meanness, to really sell the transformation and to sell him stealing Christmas. Because this Grinch is not the Grinch that's going to steal Christmas.
It's like he's just having fun with his meanness. Because the Jim Carrey Grinch, he's eating onions. He gave a kid a saw. He's just diabolical. Because I hadn't seen the 2000 Grinch in a while when I saw the 2018 The Grinch. And I saw that one at the movie theater when it came out. And I almost thought that Grinch was the meanest Grinch. But rewatching it again, I'm like, no, he's not the meanest Grinch. I think maybe the Jim Carrey is the meanest Grinch.
Yeah, totally.
He's a dick.
Totally.
So I kind of had a change of heart there.
And I think that comes out also in the voice acting with Benedict Cumberbatch. He's not abrasive in how he talks and interacts with people. He's not raunchy in any weird way. He's real gentle about how he talks. And the Jim Carrey Grinch, is on a completely different level. You kind of have to love it or hate it kind of situation because it taps into an almost absurdist character where he's just completely over the top. And he's, of course, matching the energy of Whoville, where they're completely over the top with their late-stage capitalistic tendencies. You almost wonder... It's almost kind of amazing that these two versions of the Grinch, both at the very least decent, were able to be kind of extracted from the original. And I would be curious to ask, Dr. Seuss, Ted Seuss, what Grinch is in his mind. Which Grinch would fit a little better. He never got to see either of these, though.
Oh, no.
I think he died in 91.
Dang. Yeah, that'd be an interesting question. I feel like would like visually how Jim Carrey's Grinch looks compared to his own story. But as far as the actual story and the meaning behind Christmas, I'd be interested to see, because his story is not about, the gifts and the presents and the kind of commercialism that we get a lot of in the Jim Carrey one, but we get hints of it in the 2018. His is more on just kids making noise and people being happy.
Yeah. The noise too, is kind of the focal point.
Yes. He doesn't like the noise. I quoted something he said, I don't know what was going on, but then he said, "Man, these fools will start singing." And that was just so funny. So I don't know, there's something there that the other two films are missing with the noise of it all.
Yeah, there's something much more personal, it feels like, in the I guess the 2D animation. Like there's a very specific history there that is talking to a pet peeve of his, because in the Jim Carrey Grinch, it is personal, sort of. It feels like little Grinch would have left anyways. He was just kind of waiting for the moment to be casted out, and then our 2018 Grinch left out of what he felt like necessity. Like he doesn't even deserve to be here. He doesn't belong here. He's not one of them. So it's a little less personal and in his head, kind of like what you said. I guess it's, I guess if you frame that just right, that's the ultimate personalness. But I would say less personal. The noise focus is a really funny thing to focus on.
Yeah, because we have this very long...
compilation.
Yeah, very long kind of montage, compilation of the kids playing, making noise, unwrapping their gifts with their whoos, whistles, and fizzles, and I don't know rhyming words, but all the little toys that they could possibly get. The movie is just emphasizing how that specific toy is going to make a noise. And I like that.
Yeah. I think Dr. Seuss, the man, was famously melancholic and very kind of dark-minded. So I would be curious which of the two recent ones would be his favorite.
Yeah, probably the Jim Carrey one. You saying that.
Because he's got some original work. Well, I guess his Dr. Seuss line of work is, some of his original work. But he's got these more painterly pieces of, I think a lot of them are portraits of him across with Cat in the Hat, because Cat in the Hat was kind of his persona in the Dr. Seuss world. I mean, go figure. But they're really sad. They're really sad pieces of how he saw himself.
Interesting. Well, then maybe he could relate to both.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
He probably felt a little bit like an outcast, and he probably would have been amused by the meanness against modern practices in the Jim Carrey one. So he may have liked both. Yeah.
Yeah, and just what pushes my adoration for the 2018 Grinch is that, like a good Christmas movie should, makes me tear up. Surprise, surprise.
I don't know how, man. That's so funny.
Man.
In this movie, I mean.
When he gives Max
I know, I saw it coming.
Gift. Oh my God. I teared up watching it at the movie theater too. I'm tearing up now, just how fucking sweet it is.
That is the best part of the 2018 version, their relationship, Max and Grinch.
Yes.
For sure.
And his other best friend. I like that too. I like that little add-on. His fake best friend.
Yeah.
Mr. Bricklebaum. And his exaggeration of Christmas too. Everything he puts out, and the sign he has that the mayor said that they need to make Christmas 3 times bigger this year, and he takes it to heart. I like him. He's funny.
Yeah, we didn't get a mayor focus in the 2018 one, did we?
No, we didn't. We sure didn't.
What do you think about them shipping Grinch and Cindy Lou Who's mom?
You did that.
Everyone. You see the way Cindy Lou Who's mom looked at Grinch when he took the cake?
She's just a very happy mom. Like, outwardly happy. Like, kind of almost having to force herself to be happy to deal with the single momhood. She probably looks at every guy like that. Who knows? Although in the end credits, she does get a lot of gifts from Mr. Grinch. She got a snowmobile. She got a margarita maker. I don't know what that was. She got a bunch of stuff. You know what?
I think Cindy Lou Who got herself a daddy.
That's fine with me, I guess. He switched. His heart grew, and oh my God, come on,
Something else grew.
Shit. That's why we're an R-rated podcast. But this dude's a genius. This Grinch is a genius. Yeah. He's an inventor. There's a lot of books hidden throughout his place. The mom has it made. Nothing better than a smart guy, I say. Or a rich guy. Whichever one comes first.
It's true.
It's true.
So I guess one of the last things I wanted to say was that Pharrell Williams, not a narrator.
Yeah, that's probably one of the weaker things about the movie. He just doesn't have that resonating voice.
He's not a poet. Funny enough, because he's a musician.
Yeah. His voice sounds nice. He's got a nice sounding voice, but that's not narrating qualities.
Especially in some kind of rhyming scheme. I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch probably could have done much better, but he does kind of have that powerful voice and a narration, but he's also British, and he'd have to pull something out. I don't know what it would look like, but...
His chips, isn't that what they call fries?
Yes, it is.
And the 2000 Grinch says it's narrated by Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he did a fine job. The original, though, is...
the best.
King of the crop.
Yes.
Man, he is... Or cream of the crop, I should say.
Would you say first?
King of the crop.
King of the crop.
He's cream of the crop. He has a great narration voice. And I know he also plays the Grinch, obviously. But there was something very unfortunate about Pharrell Williams because I might correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like they tried to inject the narration a little bit more in the 2018 one than the 2001, and he just was not up to bat with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There was a lot more narration here, and he's got a soothing voice, which we don't need here.
You know who should have done it?
Snoop Dogg?
That could have been interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
I was going to say Tyler, the Creator. He should have just done the narration and did his 2 songs.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what he actually sounds like when he's speaking.
But they could have produced it a little better, a little bit, and made him kind of percussion-y and stuff. And I don't know, there's no doubt Tyler, the Creator has this strange flow in him, the way he sings and produces music. There's a strangeness to it that probably would have worked much better than Pharrell Williams. He's not.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, nice. I didn't know Anthony Hopkins. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. I thought he did a fine job. It didn't stand out, I guess, in any bad way, so it didn't stand out in one way or another, I should say. So I'm not a narration expert. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe you were supposed to stand out as a narrator, but the original, is 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Great narration.
Yes.
A proper remaster of the audio and stuff of the old one, which I don't think exists. I feel like we would have, that'd be pretty easy to get, but with just crisp audio and nothing, because it sounds old. That is kind of the unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how you kind of want to take it. But a crispy remaster of the original, I could see being very neat. But
so I guess to end here, what would your ranking order be?
It's a funny thing because I don't love any of the Grinches, but probably the 2000 Grinch, the 2018 one, and then the original. They're pretty close at the end there. Those other two. Those last two.
Yeah, I'd probably put the 2018, the original, and then Jim Carrey.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, you people. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Filmsteins. Thank you for this talk. Thank you for watching those movies with me.
You're welcome. I will always watch Grinch movies with you, even when it's not Christmas.
They should make more of them. We should see a new Grinch come out every 5 years, right? I don't know what the holdup is with that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because there's a Scrooge-esque movie every 6 months. I guess the story of the Scrooge is probably in the public domain as well. So there might be something to that too.
18, whatever.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely in the public domain. But, the public domain is such a funny thing. So Mickey Mouse was supposed to be in the public domain like 50 years ago. So
hey, if you got enough money.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Filmsteins. Hope you took something away from this. Hopefully we brought some justice to the Grinch. Remember, you can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for brand new episodes of the Filmsteins over on Spotify, patreon.com/Filmsteins, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the goods.
All the goods.
But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
We're going to have an episode before that.
And a Happy New Year to come.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmsteins. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion, gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmsteins, and follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners. So if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmsteins signing off.